Of course, the fight with Joshua is more interesting to me than everyone else. It's a fight for the world title. I did not watch his fight against Parker yet. Joshua is a strong opponent with a good punch, and of course he has flaws, and they will have to be dismantled. At home, they are saying the walls will sometimes increase the pressure. Those are the words of Alexander Povetkin, talking about a potential showdown against Anthony Joshua. This is an interesting situation because Alexander Povetkin's promoter, to my knowledge, has never lost a purse bid. And he's been up against Al Heyman before. He's been up against K2, the Klitschko's before, in purse bids. And he's won on both occasions. And these were huge, huge bids from both sides. I believe the bid that he put in to stage Klitschko versus Povetkin was the biggest bid, certainly in recent heavyweight boxing history, but it may have been the biggest purse bid of all time. I'm not sure. It was certainly an enormous bid. And so the issue, or the potential issue here for Eddie Hearn, is that he loses a purse bid to Povetkin's promoter and that the fight goes to Russia. Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin in Russia. Many people believe that Hearn and Joshua would be very reluctant to go out there and face Povetkin. And given some of the shenanigans that have been happening over in Russia with failed doping tests and whatnot, you can understand their grievances. Now, I don't want to get all political and all this kind of stuff with geopolitics and, you know, the new issues between the United States or the West and Russia. I'm not trying to get into any of that because that's a whole separate issue. I'm just talking about the sport of boxing. And I know boxing is politicized to a certain extent, but with Alexander Povetkin, you're dealing with a guy who admitted that he was taking meldonium earlier on in his career. He admitted this. This is not conjecture. This is fact. He admitted he was taking meldonium. Subsequently, after meldonium was banned, he tested positive again. And even after that, he tested positive for a different substance. So this is not a guy who has never taken performance-enhancing substances. He has admitted that he has. Yeah? And has subsequently been caught after these substances were banned. So, given that background, would you, in Joshua's shoes, be keen to face Povetkin in Russia? Given the fact that Mariusz Wach and Ola Duradola fought on a Povetkin undercard a couple of years back, and both of them tested positive and were subsequently cleared by the WBC and VADA of any wrongdoing because the Russian drug testing agency, RUSADA, they failed to deliver, I believe it was B samples, to the WBC and VADA to confirm that Mariusz Wach and Duradola had actually tested positive. They were given whatever the allotted time was, and RUSADA failed to deliver the samples. That, to me, is questionable. That, to me, sends alarm bells ringing in my head. The fact that RUSADA couldn't come up with the B samples, I believe it was, for these two fighters who they say tested positive. And bear in mind that going into the Povetkin fight, Mariusz Wach said he was worried about not being paid. He said, I'm worried they're not going to pay me. They're not going to pay me. I don't know why he was saying this, but he was saying, I'm worried they're not going to pay me. And when he tested positive, I believe, to the best of my recollection, that his purse was withheld. And Ola Duradola, he also fought in the undercard, and he beat Kudryashov, who was a highly touted Russian cruiserweight contender at the time. He beat Kudryashov, and then all of a sudden he tests positive after the fight, which could have got the fight turned into a no contest for Kudryashov. But because of the investigations by the WBC and VADA, it turned out that those results still standed, I believe, or still stood, sorry. Marius Wack still got his purse, and Ola Duradola still retained a victory over Kudryashov in their first fight. So that is the kind of background that there is in Russia with boxing, particularly with regards to shows that Alexander Povetkin has been on. Yeah, you cannot blame Anthony Joshua if he didn't want to go over there and fight. You can't blame him, particularly now he's a cash cow. He don't need to take risks like that. So the question is, would Eddie Hearn be able to win that purse bid if it came to that? Would it come to that? And would they actually be willing to go over to Russia and fight Povetkin on Russian soil? Maybe they'll surprise us all. I expect they won't. If Povetkin's team do win the purse bid, if it goes to purse bids, will Anthony Joshua vacate the WBA belt? You let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. These are some things to ponder. I'm sure these are things that Joshua and particularly Eddie Hearn have been pondering. They've openly said in the past couple weeks that they are hoping to get the Povetkin fight pushed back to 2019. So we'll see what happens there, people. And if the fight does take place, Povetkin versus Joshua, how do you see the fight going? Personally, I think Anthony Joshua beats Povetkin. Do I think it's a dangerous fight? Yes, absolutely. A very dangerous fight. Povetkin has still got plenty left. He might not be quite the fighter he was a few years ago, but I think he's still very, very dangerous. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. It's happening. I'm out.